Hey, hi everybody. Hey
Good
Denise,
afternoon.
hi, Priscilla. Hey
Hello.
Priscilla, do you want to introduce us today, just spontaneously?
Oh God. Well, thank you. Well, thank you everybody that's joining us. Thank you, Holly and Denise, for being present in this space that has been created for everyone. As trauma survival, we believe that healing is collectively, and this is the purpose that why we're here today, right? Because as we heal, we want others to hear not just our stories, those stories that people want to share. And we want to be part of their process because we understand that it's not a solo transformation. We need each other.
Oh, that's so helpful. Thank
Beautiful.
you so much. And Denise, would you like to welcome people from your perspective?
Welcome. We're here to heal, and I hope that we can be of service to you, to your healing. And
Thanks,
drink
Denise.
water. We drink water because, if we're triggered, it really helps.
And what else helps, sweetie?
Also, you can call Google warm line. You can just go Google, touch it, microphone, say warm lines for trauma survivors, and you will find one-on-one help with somebody who is knowledgeable and trauma informed and helpful.
And experienced trauma herself. Yeah. So, my friends, thank you so much. And I'm Holly Elissa Bruno. Delighted to be with you. As a trauma survivor, I have different feelings all the time. And sometimes the feelings are complex. I can feel happy, sad. I can feel fearful, excited. I can feel all these things. So, today, let me just say overall, we're glad you're with us. And yes, trying to survive alone, that is what traumatized children learn. No one will be there for me. No one will look out for me. I've got to handle everything myself. And not only that, I have to take care of the adults in the room because they're not being adults.
Right.
They're the children, and I've got to be the adult. So that one of the hardest things for me to learn, it has been to let go and trust that if I ask for help, it will be there. And yet, every time I've asked for help, it's there. It's the choice to let go that has been hard for me because that means vulnerability. And one of the most unsafe things for me as a traumatized child and adult was to be vulnerable. If I essentially showed you my heart, that meant you could get the knife out. And that's what I experienced as a child. So as a 79-year-old adult, I want to look at how I've grown and how I've changed. And folk that are with us that are not here on screen, we want to know from you too. How are you growing? How are you changing? What's helping you? And eventually we hope to get back to a whole community of trauma survivors where people check in um, via chat or they check in. We've had people physically here. So that's what we're going to hope has happened. But let me start out with that will happen. Let me start out with a question for us. And as you're listening, realize that we are spontaneous. I believe that as we're spontaneous, we just tell what's on our hearts and minds. And that's what we're going to do. So my question to both Denise and Priscilla and myself is this. As trauma survivors, we know we really have to work hard, really work hard. And I want to ask both of you, is there a time recently when you didn't have to work hard at recovering from trauma, but your healing came naturally and spontaneously?
Okay, I have one topic
You
that
go.
I can mention. Um, so I used to believe when I was younger that if somebody wanted me, then I should go with them. And
Mm-hmm.
that, like I never selected someone to date. I was always selected and just went with whoever. And now I don't do that. I just because somebody wants me, that is not
a reason for me to go forward with that relationship. Like I now have a boundary of, well, am I interested? So that's one huge thing that has transformed for me.
I love it. And because I know from years of doing broadcasts and now podcasts, that if you can be specific or just give us an example of what you're talking about, that would really help. And if that's too personal, you don't have to. But is there just a moment inside yourself where you knew, I've changed, I'm changing?
Yeah, because I have been single out in the world and doing social activities with groups, and I just know that I'm not projecting that, oh, somebody want me, want me, want me, want me, who wants me? I don't do that, anymore. So that's as specific as I could be, just because, in matter of fact, a couple times people have told me, oh yeah, she wanted to date you. And I was like, I didn't even know. I didn't even attend to that. I was attending to the genuine, authentic communication that we were having. I was not attending to, oh, she wants to date me.
Because if in the past, what would have happened with you, Denise, if
I would have
someone
just went along, changed my life, moved, whatever, to be because somebody wanted me.
Yep. What's changed in you, sweetie, that makes this possible? And congratulations, by the way, it's a big deal.
What changed in me? I just became more self-empowered, through other practices of healing, yoga, meditation, ritual, things like that have really, now I can say I've got the power because I got my own power. I'm the power here.
I love it. I love that. And Priscilla, as you're listening to Denise, what do you feel?
I feel so before I say what I feel, I just want to acknowledge and share a little disclaimer that this sessions, because we're speaking about real life stories and things, our audience can feel or some feelings may erupt. Make sure that they're looking for help. I do have something in my hands as I speak as well, because it is a way to release some of the tensions that sometimes we feel. So if you're feeling like Denise said, calling the warm line, drink some water. If these topics are too sensitive, also let us know. If you need any further help, happy to make referrals and get some resources. So
Thanks for that.
As Denise is speaking, I'm feeling excited and happy for Denise, because one of the things that we struggle is a little bit, and sometimes is identifying those things that make us be participant or continue feeling being that yes person, if that makes any sense. So when I hear Denise, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. She's achieving the healing process, and part of what we believe is becoming learning how to heal. It's not feeling the pain, it's how do we navigate those feelings, right? So becoming aware of the why is important to create boundaries, why is important to validate those feelings we're feeling in the moment, and why is important also to acknowledge it, but also like speak about it if we have to in a safe space, and be kind and modify. So I'm excited.
I hear you. And Denise, what you're saying reverses the traumatized, how can I say, pattern, the trauma bonding that we're in, which is we didn't get chosen by the people that incested us. Excuse me, we were just they just controlled us.
Took us. Right. They
took us. We didn't have a choice. And so the precedent that was set was someone chooses us, we don't have a choice.
Right.
We have to go for them. And I think it's broader than the incest function too, because with the lack of self-worth that I was raised, I felt when a guy chooses me, I have to go with him because I don't really have the worth. So he chooses me, I've got to people please him. It was all of this stuff is like,
Right.
when I look back at it, but at the time, not feeling I had a choice. That's what distinguished me from being a recovering trauma survivor and a non-recovering one. Now that I feel I have a choice, that makes a huge difference. Does that make sense to you guys?
That's exactly what I was feeling. Yep.
Really. I like what you said, that it's understanding that we have a choice. And we have the choice to choose happiness. We have a choice to choose calmness, regardless of how the storm, how bad the storm may look, and sometimes making those choices happening is, I love it. And I think so, sometimes, not that I think, but sometimes those choices also come with some hardship in it, because it causes us to have to separate or create boundaries from the people who have planted in us that we're supposed to love, respect, and do these things. And we become people pleasers. We become doers. We become yes person, despite of all costs. So yes,
Yeah, can you give us an example of that, Priscilla, from your own life experience that you're willing to share?
absolutely. One of the things that I still am is and I'm working more, but I'm being to be more transparent and be fair. It's fair to say that I'm being more of a yes person, but now when I'm saying yes, I'm thinking like, what is this yes going to do for me? And is it convenient? But I used to be a yes person, regardless of what, it doesn't matter. So I experienced work burnout in my job. People will say, would you do this, would you do that? And I work with real life people, so not only am I a doer person at work, but now I'm still running on empty for the families I was providing and doing. I felt like I needed to make things, and I experienced burnout. And one of the things
And
that I
sweetie, what was your why? You talk about the why. What was your why? Why were you taken care of and people pleasing so much, which is a trait of trauma survivors?
Yes, if I was able to identify myself with a lot of these women and families, and I also wanted to feel acknowledged. So at work, I wanted to feel acknowledged, and I wanted to make sure my boss was happy. And in the field, I was able to identify with these women and know that there was still light at the end of the tunnel. But in order for me to help them see that light, I had to work extra.
I hear you. And it comes a time in trauma survivor recovery where we don't have to work extra. And I want to share one of those experiences. It's just, I love how synchronous three are together, because just hearing Denise and hearing you, Priscilla, I'm going to tell you a true story that happened yesterday. So I was working in Tampa last week, and I want to talk about that, but I came back and the flight was canceled. Everything was cray cray. But as a trauma survivor, instead of getting upset, which I used to in the past, I just say, grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, courage to change the one I can, and the wisdom to know that one is me. So here's what happened. Every summer, I give myself a gift. I love chamber music. It speaks to my heart and soul. A lot of music does. Aretha Franklin does. However, chamber music came to me as a child and it soothed me. And so I go to this place in Vermont on a mountainside called Marlborough Chamber Music Festival. And I love going there. And I was late because my flight was canceled, but I got there. And during the intermission, up came this man to me that I had met maybe a decade ago. And he said to me across this group of concert goers, he said, Holly, I've been looking for you for years. Now, those of us that know narcissism and love bombing, that's a pretty good line, right? I've been looking for you for years. Wait, what was saying? What's going on here? And then I see this guy's face. And I remember what happened. We met on a dating site, and I only met people in public for this dating site. And so I met him at this concert years ago, and I didn't have a good feeling about him. And so I had dinner with him, and then I said, that's it. But here's now the violence. What he did years ago was he, without asking my permission, got right in my face and kissed me. We're not talking about just an innocent kiss. We're talking about a real tongue kiss. And I was like, what the, and it triggered the abuse that I had. And all I could do was say, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. But I couldn't say to him at that time, F off. What gives you have no right to do that. The next time he came back years later, same thing, showed up at this wonderful sanctuary of mine, this concert series. The next time he came back, I said to him, what you did was totally inappropriate. I am angry that you did that. And anyone but a narcissist would have gotten it that I didn't want to see this person. So time number 3 comes back this year, comes right up toward me and says, I've been looking for you for years. And I look at him and I realize who he is. And so I immediately move. There's a sign in between us. I immediately move to the other side of the sign. So when he comes for me, he has got to trip over the sign. He can't get to me. I say, hey, how you doing? Talk with him very professionally, very briefly. And then I say, I've got to get back to my seat. That's all good. You know what? That's all good. I've told him, no, I'm not interested in you. And I could say hello to him, but that's it. Next day, this is it, my friends. Sunday, I come in, I'm in a beautiful mood. I've had a beautiful experience in Tampa. It's not a perfect experience. It's a life on life's terms experience. And I'm feeling really good. And I'm feeling good that flight got canceled and I'm okay. I'm okay. And I'm happy that I'm giving myself this gift of being in this place of music, which I totally love. Guy comes up to me again, ready to get in my face. And I say to him, and I'm holding my journal in my hand, and I say, I've got something I've committed to do. I can't talk now. And I took my journal and I went over and I sat on a bench, and there was another guy there, and he was saying hello, and I said hello to him. But whenever I start a new journal, it matters to me. So I started writing in my journal. And that's what I did. And people came up and talked, fine. But I wrote in my journal, and I wrote about what it was like to have this narcissist try to love bomb me. Well, I've been looking for you for years. And then for me to say no again, and then to give him an absolute no, get out of my face, no. And it felt so free. And here's the thing I want to say. This is new. I decided to trust myself. If he came back after me, after I had said to him, okay, hi, bye, I was going to totally trust myself. And I didn't plan it that I was going to say to him, no, I'm not going to talk with you. I have something that I've committed to for myself. I didn't plan that. I just said it spontaneously. Guess what happened? He wrote me a text, and it was an angry text. This is all perfect narcissistic behavior. The angry text was, guess what he said? What do you guys think he would say? What would a narcissist say that got rejected?
Why you're pushing me aside? I want this is the 3rd time. It's just not coincidence. Why you're running away from love, or like
Denise, what would you see? What would you imagine that's going to do?
Yeah, I was trying to imagine. How can you do this to me? Or
it's all of that. I'm going to see if I can find it and if I didn't release it. But basically, you both are right. What he said was, you blew me off. How could you blow me off? It's like, I'm the perfect man.
Right.
How could you blow me off? And so I've read about it since then, because one of the narcissists, actually, I was listening to a podcast. One of the first things a narcissist that's been rejected does is to immediately blame the other person. What's wrong with you? How could you have blown me off? I'm Dr. So-and-so. Well, honey, go ahead, be Dr. So-and-so. Nobody crosses my boundaries like that without my saying, done. I'm done. So that, guys, that says two things for me. One is I had no worry whatsoever about the fact if I ever saw this again, I wasn't even thinking about him. He was not living rent-free in my head. But here he showed up the third time. And I had no question but that I was going to keep my boundary. And he was trying to be right in my face. He was up here like this. I don't like people with no bound. When people have no boundaries with me, that's why I put the sign between us. He couldn't step any closer. But when he came after me the second day, typical narcissistic behavior. And my friends, do you think or feel that trauma survivors have like a big sign on us saying, hey, narcissist, come on over?
I used to believe that I had like abuse me on my forehead. Abuse me.
I do think that we are more vulnerable, right? And I want to congratulate you, Holly, for setting those boundaries and identifying those triggers within the moment, right? Because as trauma survivals and vulnerable that we can be in certain spaces, if we're single, if we're looking for love, the universe may make us believe that this behavior is actually meant to be. And here we are again, not seeing the flags because we want to believe or whatever. And it's because we're in survival mode and we're still learning. So I gotta give you a lot of credit for
Yeah,
Thanks,
much credit. That was very strong of you.
Thank you. And I'm going to also say that I woke up, or was it later later that day, the trauma when I was tired, here we go, halt. When I'm hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, that's when my little girl, the little survivor girl in me, can say, oh, what do you mean to him? Oh, actually, I stopped that right away, but I said, sweetie, it's okay. You don't have to take care of this guy. But then the next thing she brought up was maybe you need to respond to him. Maybe you need to tell him like, well, I needed time to take care of myself. And as soon as I heard her say that, I knew to comfort her. I said, sweetie, it's okay. You don't have to take care of these guys anymore. You don't have to take care of them. You're tired. Are you tired? You seem tired to me. Yeah, I'm really tired. I just want to go home. So I said to her, and by the way, if you're not used to this kind of dialogue between our inner children and our adult selves, it's something I've been working on for years. Denise, I know you've worked on it. Priscilla, you've worked on it. So what I said to that little girl was, you just rest, honey bunny. You just rest. You worked hard. This guy came right after you. He felt he could come right after you, and I'm never going to let him get near to you ever again. You don't ever have to be afraid of him. And even if he comes up when we're both tired, I'm still going to step in front of you. You don't have to worry about him anymore. It just felt so liberating to do two things here. One is to see that she was trying to be the good little girl because that's what she knows. And here's the problem, my friends. I can become that good little girl in a heartbeat. Do you guys know what I'm talking about here?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about it, please. Help me understand. I'm not alone in this.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be a good girl my whole entire life. That was like my top priority, to be a good girl.
Because if you were a good girl, what would happen?
Maybe somebody was gonna love me, or I earn worthiness, or might get a little love.
And
Yeah.
also not only not maybe you get a little love and maybe you wouldn't get as much abuse.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you're meeting people expectations, right? Like I think that we all have that little girl because that little girl actually is the first person who we start identifying in our healing process. And for those who don't understand who's that little girl, it's also the little boy. It's our inner self. And it's like, I want to say it's the conscious sometimes letting us know we're not good enough, or letting us know you have to speak back, or this happened to you. It happens a lot with women who have experienced domestic violence. It's like, you're going through this because of you caused this. And I really like Holly for bringing this little girl up, because it's a way in what I call it in actually wrote it in the inner, it's reframing those thoughts that can cause us harm into positive, and validating those feelings and being kind to yourself for feeling what you're feeling, and at the same time being able to say, chill, everything is fine. He didn't, this didn't happen before. And it's something that myself I try to also remember, like, people were living before I came in their life, so it's not my job now to figure it out. I give them the space. If we are able to have a common feed, we're able to relate to each other for a minute, but even so, it's okay to set some boundaries and
So
not be
Priscilla, who was your earliest narcissist?
my father. My father, from the moment, it was interesting. I remember hearing the first thing that caught me out of guard with my father was me hearing my mom and my father arguing. I was probably like 4 or 5 years old, about why I was being treated away, or the expectations for me were higher when I was supposed to be a boy. The first thing I heard was my mom getting beat up because I was supposed to be a boy. And I believe, having two intellectual sisters, I had a lot of expectations from very young. So yeah.
So they were older than you?
So actually, I'm the middle one. I have a sister who she got oxygen in her brain at birth. So that caused her to be like they say autism. I think it's something else. And then I have a sister who has severe cognitive delay as well, epilepsy. So, and I was the middle one, and because they both learn different, the expectation was a lot on me.
Did you have a brother
I do.
and he was the youngest?
He's the oldest, and he has actually adopted a lot of the characters of my father.
How so?
So now he's into religion as well, and he's distant at me because also I decided to study psychology. What I believe in now, having a closer relationship with my father, and many people's like, how? I would just, yeah, with boundaries, you'll be able to create certain spaces. And it's something that my brother, yet I feel like he struggles with, because I used to look up after him, and I would say, you were like my father, and you're my big brother, and you were always my protector. But
Was he?
I believed he was for many years. But he wasn't. That was me looking for that paternal figure and closure. So when he would speak, I would shake. But it was one time he came to visit me in Boston, and he used this big tone of voice to his family. And I had, same day he arrived was the same day I told him, you have to get out. We
Good.
don't use that tone of voice in my house. My kids is not exposed to these type of things. I'm not going to allow you. My kids are not. I remember that day thinking, my kids are not going to go through what I went through. They're not going to witness it.
Mm-hmm. How did he respond when you said no?
Oh, he left. He was upset. And then he apologized. I guess like after 2 weeks, he apologized.
How did he show you he was upset?
Oh, he left. He
He didn't
left.
say anything.
He was upset. He's like, you do what you want. You know, you think that because you're doing these things, you're better than anybody. At the time, I was a family partner. But you know, and this is why I was failing as a mother. That's what he said at that time. But
So
interesting.
he had to like put you down
Yes.
to leave. Okay.
To this day. To this
To
day.
this day.
To this day, he doesn't directly say it, but for instance, he will say things that, oh, I don't condone kids listening to this, or I don't condone my kids thinking that they are the boss of me. So, you know, when we are not in the same page, then he doesn't condone it, and this is why we're destined. Sadly, I'll share this, and then but
No,
sadly,
keep going. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a niece who is considered lesbian, and my brother. So I'm not sure if that's the right word because she does. You know, she's a boy and she likes to be called Keto. I call her Keto. I love her. And from her paternal family, I'm the one who had the closest relationship with her. And about a year ago, I'm not sure what happened, that they had a conversation and no longer me and her speak. And then I just recently find out that he has been without speaking to her for quite some time. And that hurted me so much because I was her to go auntie. And in my head, I was like, wow, you had to do this. Like, you know, and you're narcissistic, you did this. And my father, I remember like maybe 6 years ago, my brother went to Puerto Rico and he came very upset with me. And that kind of created our relationship to be more distant, to the point that I remember after a couple of years of us not speaking, me apologizing to him just to break the ice. And it was so funny that at that time, he said, I knew you was gonna call me to apologize. I didn't went back and forth with him, but it was just so funny because I'm like, yeah, I know you thought that I needed to apologize.
Tell me, something hurt, a lot hurt as you were talking. I saw Denise's face too. The thing that I didn't understand was you were close to your niece. You were her go-to. You were her special person. You loved her for who she was in a family that couldn't see her.
Yes.
Why? I mean, I can make up a story about why they separated you two, but what helped me understand what happened there? Or Denise, maybe you understood it differently than I did. I just got the impression
I wanted to say that
they,
is
you
she
no longer
young?
speak.
Yes, so she's now about 22 years old, and I believe that what happened was my niece, just like so with my son who identify himself as gay, he had it a little bit different because he's still here. That's my baby. I always tell him you need to make sure your boyfriend is into fashion, and I'm okay with it. And I remember when he was starting to come out of the closet, I was like, it's us against the world. As long as you're happy, do you. And that's my thing with my niece. And I believe that, but right, a little girl is always wanting to that daddy affection.
Right.
And I believe that that's what happened. You know, her trying to rebuild or trying to heal that relationship with her own father could have created, because to this day my father and I, he would try to speak negative about my mom, or he would try to tell me the reason we are the way we are is because of something that my mom did, and not holding himself responsible, no
Right.
sort of accountability. But I had to tell him no, like, and I remember those were the things that will make us argue, because I'm like, yeah, but you were never there. But where were you? Or why didn't you do this? He's like, I think narcissistic people like to like to coordinate other people's life based on what they think.
Right.
It's about control.
Yes.
So anyway, I wanted to say about your niece, she probably identifies, they don't so much identify as lesbian nowadays. They identify as non-binary. They're not all the way female. They're not all the way male.
Oh no, she's a boy. She's a
So she
boy.
identifies as a boy. Okay.
She's a
So
boy,
then she's
and that's
transgender.
yeah, yes, but she like sometimes one day we were talking about her transformation, and there's certain areas she doesn't want to transform. And I think that that's one of the things. Like in my home, in my life, she's more than welcome. And I believe that there is a fine, like in their thoughts, there's the other day I was speaking to my father, and he's like, you see, we're having a good conversation, but if somebody sees you with that necklace, they may not want to speak to you because you don't project as a Christian person.
Oh, Christian. Jesus himself would have said, bring them, bring everybody.
And I don't get into these type, like when we have other conversations, I kind of bring certain things up because just how I am, I have been able to help people understand, right? For those who allow me to, the power of prayers, the power of being mindful and believe what you want. But right, they have this own idea.
So here's another theme we have in common as trauma survivors. Each one of us, and tell me if this is accurate for you, but I feel each one of us believes strongly that each person on earth is worthy of respect.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I feel that that's been who I was since birth. And I feel it also got reinforced over and over again because I watched my family exclude. And when I realized that they were excluding me and that's how they controlled me, I was never what I was supposed to be. So they kept excluding me. It's like the carrot, that I kept going after to try to get somebody's love. I yearned. That was the word I used as a child. I yearned for love. I yearned for acceptance. And later on, I learned that the phrase was unavailable men. Then I learned recently that I was the one that was emotionally unavailable in relationships. That was a tough one for me. Do you guys know what I'm talking about here?
Yeah.
Tell us about it, Denise.
I do tend to be unavailable. I need to know somebody way more than a dating site. So I'm unavailable until I deem myself available, kind of. It's my power, it's my shield, like that sign was your shield.
And how do you feel about that?
Well, I think it probably put some people off, but it's okay with me. I probably have received less relationship activity than I would, however, I didn't have any negatives. So kind of like that.
I remember maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and just stop me if this is inappropriate, but I remember you were going to meet somebody at a place that wasn't totally safe, and the person didn't show up in time, which left you all alone in an unsafe place.
Right. In a place that felt unsafe. It was
Well, then that's unsafe. It feels unsafe.
Right.
It's unsafe.
Yeah, it was a bunch of men sitting at the bar looking at me, and I was like, "Oh God, I got to get out of here." So I
And
left.
the person came in and didn't understand, right? Didn't get it.
Then, yeah, she didn't understand. She's like, no empathy, nothing. Just, okay, see you next time. So that,
See, do you feel in that case you were served by your boundaries?
yes, I do. I came home and, made myself a nice evening without
Good for you.
the gaze.
What's hard sometimes is that, of all people, I had a nun describe this feeling of like getting excited about meeting somebody that we're attracted to. The nun said it's a frisson, which is a French phrase for like this buzz, this buzz. And I know that frisson real well. So you may have had with this person that feeling of like, oh, something might be starting here, right?
Yeah, I did. I felt like we could have been, gotten somewhere together, but we couldn't. I mean, once I knew that empathy wasn't there, could not even acknowledge that could be triggering, which she's a therapist, she should be, it would make you think that she would be more understanding, but there was no understanding.
Priscilla, is this making sense to you?
Absolutely. I think this is why I became a therapist.
Yeah.
Because right then in why I study trauma, and a lot of people will say, like, Priscilla, why early childhood? Because that's where a lot of it start. One of the things that I recommend to young girls or young women when I'm speaking to them and they like going through like these roller coasters of emotion when it comes to relationship, it's reading the book of the 5 languages of love, and it goes a little bit of what Holly was saying. Like at the beginning, it's all these feelings and everything's so exciting, and you don't see no wrongs. We will deal with everything, right? Because those are the feelings, and identifying the feelings, the emotions with your rationale. So I always tell them, let's make a checklist of your ideal man, right? And when you're dating and you're having those feelings, have fun with it. Yet, if he's not meeting all your checklists, press the next button.
Right.
Because that's what happens in everything. Or like when I'm speaking with couples relationship, it's one of the things that I like to tell them is you need to love as you are afraid of losing that person. Like if this person was the last day of them, what would you do? Because right, that means you're going to love them a little bit more. You're going to take care of it. It's having a balance, but yeah.
That's a big one, girl, because the fear of abandonment is what trauma survivors have from the very get-go. When I arrived on earth, and like you, I wasn't my father's son. And so he didn't even go to the hospital to see me. And then when my mother took me home, he would yell at me, get her out of my sight. So I was abandoned from the get-go by my father. And no one was there to explain to me as an infant, you're fine. This man that comes home and he sees you and he gets enraged, it's not your fault. So as an infant, I'm thinking, what? I don't know what I was thinking, but I knew that I felt abandoned. Children from a very early age, we feel abandoned. And because my mother was psychotic, her mental illness separated her from me. So she abandoned me too. So what I learned about love, or people that are supposed to love me, abandoned me. And so what you're talking about, Priscilla, is I call it for years the coat of many colors syndrome. There's a thing in the Bible about Joseph or somebody had this coat of many colors. And what I would do is I keep that in my closet. And when a man would come into my life, I would get that out of the closet. It was it's kind of like what I have on today, the sparkles, the dazzles, the colors. I put it on him and he was perfect. And then I wouldn't have to see that the checklist wasn't completed because why? I didn't feel I deserved a complete partner. Whoever chose me was the right man, because my job was to make any man that came my way the happiest man on earth. Nobody was about making me the happiest little girl on earth.
And because we had these early childhood negative experience,
Mhm.
those abandonment, we're still trying to feel that abandonment, and we're still trying to create an attachment. And right when we're creating the attachment, we justify all the negatives because right we're and it's momentary. We think this shall pass, and I think that that's what it makes so nice. I feel like for me as a therapist, one of the things that I found in my healing process is looking for the right therapist. But honestly, not until I started becoming, not until I went to school for psychology and then to identify my own whys, I wasn't able to understand really how. And I also had a very great psychiatrist who started naming it for me. And one of the and started to tell me, Priscilla, own your therapy. And when I speak to people or I'm doing consultation, I'm like, you go there and you own your therapist. You don't tell her how you feeling today, because today you're feeling great, but yesterday you were not. Speak to her about yesterday, and let her process that. And I went through different therapists to be able to find the good one, but I realized also it was me owning my therapy that was helping me, because a lot of therapists go to school and become specialized on certain things, but are trying other theories and they don't match. So it could be hard and they could make mistakes because, right, one of the things I said is, I'm a therapist, but I'm also human. I'm going to make mistakes. And I'm gonna lack in certain areas. But it is
It's just like lawyers. I mean, people go into law for many reasons, but one of them is to have control because you don't mess with a lawyer. And I have known numerous therapists who needed more therapy than the people they were giving therapy to, especially narcissistic therapists. So what you're saying about own your own therapy is crucial. What I think you mean is take charge of this is true for me. Take charge of facing the things about myself I do not want to face, but I need to face to be free.
absolutely.
And that's hard because that means walking right straight into the darkness. And because I was taught to believe I would walk in the darkness alone, no one would be there for me. It took special courage. I read something, my friends, that said trauma survivors we need to give ourselves a break because acting with courage every day can be exhausting. What you were saying before about burnout, Priscilla, it's exhausting to have the courage to face the fact that we become our own loving parents when we didn't have loving parents. In fact, I was angry when I first started looking at becoming my own loving parent. For the first years, I was angry. Wait a minute. I already raised my two parents. Now I got to raise myself. I've already done that once. I was pissed. Wait a minute. This is not right. It took a while, and I'm still working on that, to own that I am the one with the choices. Am I making sense to you guys, Denise?
Yep.
What's coming to your heart as we're talking about these things?
We have to pursue healing. We have to pursue doing the right thing. We have to put effort and energy to that.
Even if you feel uncomfortable.
We're going to feel uncomfortable. Do you think we know inside what's the right thing is? Or did that get messed up in all the attachment mess that we went through?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it depends. Yeah.
we have to think about it a lot. I think more. I think we have to consider it more of what the right thing is for us.
Give me an example of that, Denise, when you I can think of a bunch of them for you, but I'm interested in what you said before, but I'm interested, when did you think you really have to go through the work to know that you were doing the right thing?
Uh, Probably mostly my work, my job, my effort to make a safe place for children.
Yeah,
That's
you
what I
didn't
had.
get used to that, girl.
Yeah, I had to really work at that, and it was working for myself too. I
Mhm.
was working for the children and for me.
So give us one example of how you made a safe space. And Priscilla, you're doing this in your work too, and I'm doing it in my work. How did you make Denise a safe space for children while at the same time making the space a sanctuary for yourself?
Uh, I I was afforded a lot of what do you call it? They gave me a lot of money for my classroom because, they felt I was worthy to have what I wanted. So I got what I wanted. I figured out what I
Nice.
wanted and I got what I wanted.
So what did you get? What's an example?
A huge sandbox for the middle of my room.
Was it purple sand?
It was purple sand. I
Nice.
got purple sand. I had a great array of puzzles. I just had really great materials surrounding me. And really I was afforded a lot. I went my last year of teaching, my mom came into my classroom. She never had any interest, but we were around there. So I said, "You want to go see my classroom?" And she couldn't believe it. She goes, "This is all yours?" I go, "Yep, this is my classroom." And I built it for the last 10 years, and she was pretty impressed by it. So I was impressed too. I gave myself a good childhood
Did you play in the purple sand?
whenever I could. And I always was changing out the props in there, from animals, whatever, sea
Dinosaurs.
creatures, rocks, dinosaurs. What else do we do in there? Sometimes we put half water, and see how mushy, and oh yeah,
It's so good.
yeah.
Priscilla, what are you hearing as you're listening to Denise?
Sounds like a fun place to be. Yeah, and I love it. I love it. I myself also have created a space to play and learn, and um it transports me on those good times that I had as a young. My mom always tried.
Thank you.
And then it also transport me on the times that I bless you that I did with my daughters. Bless you.
Thank
So,
you.
and when I'm in these space, what I do is I genuinely look what are they telling me through play? What is happening, and it becomes very exciting to hear and then ask a parent like, so do you mind, like, how is this at home? Or like, and for them to kind of like give me another narrative about what it looks like. And I'm like, put those two together is just beautiful. That
Mm.
is magic.
I love that. And my home is my home. If when you come here, you'll see the colors are vibrant. I have midnight blue in the skylights, and as the sun comes in at different times of the day, that blue changes. I have $1 million red in my office. I have seafoam green and what is it? Blue, something blue perfect purple or something like that. It was so colorful here. And I have from all around my travels around the world, I have tapestries that I brought back from India and um it's just my home. It's full of color. And for the first time in my life, I hired what do you call those? Home designer, some kind of designer. And I said to her, this is my home. Because I'd often shared a home with my husband or my sisters or my roommates. So I said, this is my home. And I said, I want to be able to stand anywhere in my home and see light coming in. And so she designed, together with the person, the contractor, made it possible that light shines in anywhere. And the colors here, people come here and they tell me, this is a sanctuary. And it feels like that. I feel safe here. And I'm sure that I didn't feel safe in many of my other places. So Denise made her purple sand beautiful. Room for Children made herself safe. I have my own colorful sanctuary. Priscilla, you have your office with all of those things you can sensorily touch as well. So, my friends, if you were to, as we're closing here, we have like 1 minute, if you were to give a title to today's podcast, don't worry about getting it perfectly. Just what's the title you would give today's podcast?
You've got the power.
Okay. You've got the power. It goes with this.
Well, usually I do it like this.
Oh, like this. Okay. You got the power.
Big power.
It's like, tell me what democracy looks like. This is
what
democracy looks like. Priscilla, how about you, hon?
I like what Denise said. I also would think like healing is beautiful, right? Because your everything becomes beautiful. You create your own space, you empower, you advocate, and you build the confidence.
It's also beautiful to see others respond positively, to smile and feel happy for you that you found happy, a little happy, that's a beautiful thing about it's like confirming, validating. I don't know, it's good to be in a group.
It is so good, honey. And imagine if the narcissist that I encountered this weekend, instead of saying, you blew me off, if he had said, you did exactly the right thing to take time for yourself. I am so impressed with that.
Right.
Imagine.
Yeah, I want to say like maybe happiness is a choice, right? Because I don't know if we always meet, and I think it's fair to always say this. We don't always meet the happiness, right? Life comes with different fireballs, and we don't know how we're going to respond. But if you choose to be optimistic, if you choose, there we go again. Well, Holly,
it's happening to find us, guys. It's not I have to choose to be found, Priscilla.
Right.
I have to choose to find happiness. It's a choice.
We have to believe we're worthy.
You got it. My friends, this has been powerful. By the way, the title I would give this is Playing Together in the Purple Sand.
I need to see purple sand. Is it Connect sand?
It's just regular sand, but it's purple.
Nice.
It was so awesome.
Does it have like glitter? It must look like glittery.
It does have a sparkle to it. Yep.
I'm gonna.
Perfect. Okay, my friends, thank you so much. I hope we can get together again next week. And folk that are tuning in afterwards, just, by the way, maybe Priscilla or Denise could tell you, if you want to join us, here's a place, or here's how you can click. Or here's what you can. Priscilla, can you tell folk that might be listening after the fact, where can they go to join us live next week?
So there is a link. If they send us an email or a text message, actually, I don't know but if they send me a text message, the link for healing, I'm happy to send them the link, 617-676-7202. But they also can send me an email at familyconsultingandcoaching@gmail.com. I'll add them to the link, and then we'll send it individually, as well as a summary, some resources. And we're working on creating, but we need the audience to work with us. So share your story, join us. There's also a space there for people to subscribe and be part of this, one of our presenters, one of our speakers.
Yeah, it sounds good. So you can also reach out to me or Denise, right?
Right. I'm at teacherdenise@yahoo.com.
And just look up my name, Holly Elissa Bruno, and that'll link you to me. So, yeah, honey. So it's been wonderful being with you two trauma survivors, you badass trauma survivors, and me too. And let's celebrate ourselves for having taken stands for our little girls.
Yep.
Right.
High five.
Yay.
Fairly well, my friends. Let me stop recording. And yes, I can do this. Yes, I can. Wait a minute. There we go. I am sure I want to stop recording to the